You know what I'm starting to notice? This game is strangely full of caves. Every other place I go to is a cave. It's like the whole planet is made out of frickin' limestone or something. But actually, this is not that weird. You don't even think very much about it because video games have been doing this forever. Well, not as much these days, but it used to be that a cave was the go-to location for adventure. I think this came about because game designers were always trying to keep you in an enclosed space where they can control where you were gonna go. I mean, you know, it makes sense that the only thing that would be in a cave would be your objective, because seriously, who lives in a cave? You don't have to decorate the cave, that wouldn't make any sense, so you save a ton of time, and the place is full of monsters, even though there's nothing to eat and nothing to do. Today, though, it's a lot more popular to try and make your world feel big and expansive and easy to explore, unless you're playing Final Fantasy still. Then, you know, it's still a lot of linear corridors, but as they say, Western games have spoiled us with non-linear corridors. Don't look at me, this is what Final Fantasy's director said. But actually, if you think about the reality, games like the Elder Scrolls series rely a lot on caves still. Heck, even Fallout has a lot of caves in it. I don't know why there are so many caves. It seems like those games make caves about as exciting as they're gonna get, which is not very. I mean, I've been to a real cave. It was kinda pretty, but I wouldn't want to see 100,000 of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy has some fun locations like Zozo, but it's clear that even in today's era, a cave is just easier to design. You don't have to worry about whether or not the layout makes sense, just put down a bunch of winding corridors and stick them all together. Put a boss at the end and boom, level designed. Actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, even Ace Combat 5 made you fly through a cave. And that was a game about airplanes. Although I guess that was a slightly different sort of thing. Oh well, let's get back to our caves.
So no political commentary today, huh?
No. Today we spelunk with a furious vengeance. Our party is finally big enough to go to the Star-Shaped Mountains and form 2 groups of 4.
No, yes. We are short one.
Oh, that's right, we couldn't get Go-Go.
Yes, so we have 7.
That's okay. It still works out. We can call ourselves the 7 Spelunkers.
You know, we could go get Applejack.
No, because Trixie tried to get us to go do that one.
Well, are we gonna get Applejack?
Yeah, I like Applejack. I told you last time. We're gonna go get her eventually.
Okay, just so long as you know that Trixie's a fictional character and your active spite doesn't really get through to her in any way.
Shush you, I'm playing the game.
No, you are not. I am playing the game.
Okay, I'm watching Peyton play the game.
Peyton put Trixie in the party.
No. Besides, we have already jumped. I am not going back.
This is a very complex operation, Taylor. You can't just change the plan after everyone's jumped already.
I don't think that's true. I think you can cast the warp spell or you could jump on the little hook there.
Those are emergency extraction procedures, yes.
Yeah, this is a really important mission. We've got these pressure plates that we gotta stand on, and it opens up these little boxy doors.
Very complex. Pressure plates, yes.
Yeah, and how they got here, we don't know.
Well, maybe this could be some kind of archaeological mission then.
No, we do more of the Indiana Jones kind of archaeology, which means we don't actually explore or learn anything.
Really? That's too bad. It seems like one of those things you'd want to know. How did they get these pressure plates working in this cave?
You know, I would want to know that, but there's really no way to find out.
You know, it would be cool to be like a little encyclopedia, but you're all down on that.
I'm not down on encyclopedias. You know, Shadow Hearts had one of those. It wasn't a cult game, so they explained a lot of the monsters and the demons that you ran into.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought you just didn't like the whole encyclopedia thing in general.
No, encyclopedias are okay, as a supplementary thing. I mean, if you want to know why you fight this kind of monster here, that's cool. Just so long as it's not required reading. But you know, I don't think that this game really lends itself to that sort of thing too well anyway.
Yeah, why's that?
Well, at the risk of alienating some people, I don't feel like Final Fantasy has ever been that, I don't know, culturally rich.
I can kind of see that, but prior to all this, you were talking about all those subtle little details in the game, weren't you?
Yeah, well, what I'm saying isn't like a big head sort of, there's no culture in this game kind of thing. I mean, it's like, you know how in Star Wars every planet is just like the desert planet, or Hoth, the ice planet?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars was still technically good, the original series anyway, but it wasn't all that in-depth. Like, for example, what did Tatooine export?
I don't know. I'm sure that was in the extended universe.
Yeah, but that's in the extended universe with all kinds of supporting material. It's not in the movies. And Final Fantasy has been kind of the same way. I mean, you can explain stuff, you can suspend your disbelief, but there's really not a whole lot to these worlds that they make. Take Doma, for example, which was Sweet Apple Castle in this game. I mean, what is Doma? It's one castle, they don't have an empire.
But they did have a playable character, yes.
Yeah, they did, and they established that character well, and they let you relate to him. I mean, that was all technically good. But really, Doma doesn't have a culture, or a history, or even like any other cities or anything. If you tried to give it an encyclopedia, it wouldn't make any sense. Anything they tried to tell you about Doma, or why the Empire wanted to conquer them, or any of that stuff would just sound kinda implausible.
Kinda gives you the feeling that maybe you're not supposed to overthink everything.
Are you hinting at me?
Maybe just a little.
Well, let me say this about that. I think that maybe Square Enix got too big of heads and they thought that they were making these really amazing stories. They came to believe that the entire appeal of their games was the story and the graphics. And now you play Final Fantasy XIII and the mechanics are utterly butchered in favor of those other things.
But the story of this game is pretty good though, right?
Yeah, it is. It's really charming, but I mean, look at what we're doing right now. We've spent the last couple episodes just wandering around and talking over us wandering around. If the mechanics weren't good and I didn't have different options to choose from and different ways of playing, then I wouldn't really want to do it twice.
Yeah, you're making it sound like you figured out this one thing that made this game good.
That's not what I mean.
The characters were still pretty likable.
Well, sure, and lots of little things contribute to the success of the game, but I really think it is just the reality that Square never did much more than the bare bones as far as their settings were concerned. Take this cave. Even if we followed the hints that told us to go here, we never would have had an explanation for why we need to be here. The cave just has some items that we would want, and there's a character here. As a player, I'm motivated, but, why is this cave here, and why are there items in it?
Oh, I got you on this one. If I remember, it's because the Emperor actually stored all of his items here.
Before the apocalypse rearranged the entire planet?
Well, yes.
See what I mean? It's kinda implausible. I mean, yeah, you can buy it if you want, but it's not really all that practical.
Well, it's fiction. What do you want him to do?
Nothing, it's fine. This works. For this game.
Okay, I see where you're going with this, but you know Final Fantasy X was pretty story-oriented, and they did some pretty good world building.
Chrono Trigger was my Square. Yes.
Oh, but Chrono Trigger had the same problem that this game does. You know, you had the Kingdom of Guardia. It was like one village and a castle.
Yeah, but then consider the Kingdom of Zeal, the floating magical city with the really amazing atmosphere.
Yeah, but Zeal...
It was pretty. Had great music.
Okay.
Lots of character.
They've never really topped Zeal, have they?
Dude, Chrono Trigger was awesome. They've never even topped Chrono Trigger.
Square has barely done anything besides Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy. Yes.
Not before the merger.
See, but the point is, I think you're looking for patterns that just aren't there.
Well, okay, but can we at least agree that this game is simple, it's kinda elegant that way, but it's not all that fleshed out?
Maybe selectively, but you yourself have pointed out a lot of reasons why the game's story is actually pretty in-depth. I understand why, after seeing Final Fantasy XIII, you might say to yourself, hey, what if they could never do stories? But I think it's kind of a weak hypothesis.
So many things are like Star Wars today. Such sweet nostalgia ruined forever.
Guys, I think there's something wrong with the game.
Where's the battle music?
I don't know, and also I think we're fighting like a dozen Chaos Dragons.
Oh, this is gonna suck when they get around to attacking us.
Well, they're not attacking us. I think the AI might be broken.
This is what we get for playing God and ROM hacking artwork. Yes.
Oh no! What have we done? You're supposed to obey us, RomHack! Obey us!
We are your master. We created you. Be true to your purpose.
It's not responding to commands. It's become self-aware. Oh, what a fitting punishment that we should be forced to fight an infinite number of Chaos Dragons. It's what we get for our decadent monster-killing ways.
Oh, okay. Everything is fine. Yes.
Crisis averted.
Well, I don't know anything about ROM hacking, so now I just really wonder what made the game decide to do that.
I think it was laziness.
Laziness that made the game glitch out?
Yes, because playtesting into the late part of the game takes forever.
Bah, that's not laziness exactly. You know, when people use that RPG Maker to make their own games, they usually get excited and they release demos. It's not that they're lazy, it's just that they're really excited to show off this thing that they've made. The only problem is they don't get enough playtesting in, and the game is unfinished, and so it's kind of a wreck.
Just like the professionals. Yes.
Yep, the internet has really helped along the whole we'll fix it later concept.
There is nothing in these treasure chests.
Yep, there's only 2 good ones and we got one of them.
Where is the other? Yes.
Well, it's out in the lava.
Who put treasures in lava?
It's magma, because it's underground. And Empress Gilda put it out there, remember?
Pshaw. Taylor, you do not know everything. Yes. Our fans said that there is such a thing as pony band-aids.
I didn't say there wasn't such a thing, I just said that it wasn't a really hot seller.
You do not know everything.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You are not sorry. Yes.
Not especially.
You think you are so smart.
Well, not to toot my own horn, but in this little group, I sometimes think I might be the smartest.
Nuh-uh. What's the derivative of 4?
You know, it's really not your crystallized knowledge that proves whether or not you're very smart.
That is just what someone would say if they didn't know the derivative of 4.
Okay, fine. I don't know the derivative of 4.
See, that was your true test to tell whether or not you're smart, is whether or not you can admit that you don't know things that I do.
This seems like kind of a biased test of intelligence.
Taylor, if Ray knows derivatives, how come you do not know?
I don't really know the derivative of 4.
Okay, what does that mean for our competition of intelligence, then?
The answer is 0. Yes.
Why is it 0?
Because that is the rate that 4 changes into other numbers.
But 4 doesn't change into other numbers.
That is the point, yes. That is why it is 0.
Then how is that useful to know, and why does that make you smarter than us?
Because sometimes with a function of distance or something, or maybe you make fluid mechanics.
Why would you need to know fluid mechanics?
What is this? Do not interrogate me. I am the most intelligent.
I don't know, I mean, Let's think, if you really did learn fluid mechanics, that would take a lot of time and energy, and if you're not really using that knowledge, then that was kind of a big waste, wasn't it? It's kind of dumb.
That is not how this works.
No, I don't know, Peyton. Taylor might be right. I mean, like, if you think that you're really smart, you know, a dumb person would think that they were really smart, but they wouldn't know because they were too dumb. So you kind of need that outside perspective, right? Like, you need us to confirm that you're pretty smart.
You fiends! You use our social relationship to your advantage!
I think that we should all just agree that no one is smartest and we can't determine who the winner is.
Yeah, that sounds fair. And I think that anyone who disagreed would have to be pretty dumb, because we're pretty
The
right.
two of you. One day, I will be the force of misery.
Yeah, but then you won't be accepted as part of our group anymore. It's good being social animals.
Bullying is very complex work.
No, it's not bullying. It's positive behavioral modification.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. This is like from the Gremlins movie, like Gremlins 2. You know, when you had the guy in the suit and he was really nice?
The two of you are wickedness.
You mean the movie with Gizmo, where you're not supposed to feed him after midnight or get him wet?
Yeah, that one. In the sequel, one of the Gremlins wears a suit and he becomes super intelligent, and they're like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "Civilization." And then he shoots another gremlin, and he goes, "Was that civilized? No, but that's what we want, is civilization."
You're just rambling pure and
Yeah,
simple.
well, because he's wearing a suit. He's a little monster in his suit.
So you're saying that we're like little monsters in suits?
Yeah, sort of, basically. I mean, that's what we're doing, right?
That is how I perceive it.
Yeah, I guess you could use that analogy.
And you know you have done evil, but yet you do not care. Do you know what this means? Yes. It means you are sociopaths.
Peyton, I think you're pretty smart. And I'm sorry. Taylor,
What?
tell Peyton you're sorry.
Well, I'm not saying I'm proud.
Taylor.
I'm not good at complimenting people, okay? It just, I don't know, feels weird.
Taylor, tell Peyton that you're sorry.
You are butts.
I'm not butts, you're butts.
No, you are officially butts until you apologize.
Well, you know what, just
Apologize.
Peyton, you're...
Apologize.
Well, you know what, just Peyton, you're...
You freaking apologize.
You know, you're a good narrator. You're cool.
Seriously? That's the best that you could do?
Oh.
You are in trouble.
I mean, come on, she's cool. Like, you ridicule her, make her feel like not a
Look
part of the
over there,
group,
look,
and then
hey.
she's cool.
Look at that. You see that? That is a dick-eating grin. That's what that is.
Oh, a grin of dicks, you say. Oh, my feelings are hurt.
Taylor, you just have to apologize. That's all you had to do.
Well, you make it into like a domination thing, you know, where I'm like admitting that I'm lower than
It's
her.
a humility thing. That's what an apology is. It's like saying, "Oh, I was wrong. I'm below you." You don't get to come away from an apology being the better person, you know? It's not how it
Yes,
works.
You are lower than me, except
You know what? No, I'm not doing it. Because you know what? I was sorry, but now Peyton is just taking advantage. Peyton knew I was joking. You knew I was joking.
No,
Peyton knew I was joking. She
No.
knew I was joking.
I was wounded deep down by you.
She's so full of crap. You're full of crap. This is ridiculous.
If you had just apologized in the first place, then we wouldn't even have to be guessing whether or not,
Guessing?
you know, Peyton's being sincere.
No, I am sincere. Yes.
Well, you know what? We're missing lesbian horse love story right now. That's what we're doing. So, I hope you're happy about that.
You know, would you believe this, but I'm actually a fine connoisseur of lesbian horse love stories. Like, I've read a lot of them. How many lesbian horse stories do you think you would have to read before this one became boring to you?
I don't know.
Like one, because once you read one of them, you've read pretty much 90% of them. I am not worried about lesbian horse story because lesbian horse story is right here, it's not going anywhere, and it's gonna be all over the internet, you could read it anytime. And every single one of them, they're about love in its prime, about finding new love, about Applejack falls in love with Rainbow Dash falls in love with Rarity falls in love with The Rock falls in love with Stephen Magnan. It turns out that they're gay together. Don't ask me how that works. Everyone is looking for the gimmick to hook the audience because there's like a billion fanfictions out there. But you know what this game could have done? If we're gonna have a frickin' love story between Applebloom and Final Scratch, then we should have just had them be open lesbians, not implied lesbians, they're just gay together. That way we wouldn't have to tiptoe around the fact or wonder if they're really gay, they could just be openly homosexual, and we could focus on the fact that Applebloom is deeply wounded by the failing of this relationship. Cause that's the real drama, that's what we actually care about, you know?
I know.
Thank you. Anyway, I was really more concerned that you would just upset Peyton, she wouldn't come back tomorrow.
No, I don't care.
See, she didn't need an apology. She knew.
It's really not the point of the apology, you know. Okay, but anyway though, let's recap what happened in this scene and how it's been changed. So, in the original game, Locke had a girlfriend. He went to go take her to this place, he was gonna propose, I think, and then she falls and she hits her head. Afterwards, she has a hard time remembering who Locke is, and her family never really liked him very much, so that creates a lot of stress. Eventually she asks him to leave, and because he loves her, he does.
He leaves his injured girlfriend because he loves her?
Well, he does blame himself for the injury, and it's stressing her out, and he can't help, so he leaves. But then, while he's gone, the Empire shows up and roughs up the town, and his girlfriend gets put into a coma. Of course, he blames himself for that, and it's one of the main reasons why he keeps saving these girls and trying to help them out. He thinks that he couldn't save his girlfriend, and it makes him feel like a bad person, so he keeps trying to make up for it. But in this part of the game, he finds that magicite that can bring his girlfriend back. So he uses it, she comes back, and because she loves him, she tells him that it's not really his fault. Or, more accurately, she tells him that she loves him, and if things had gone differently, that would have been great. But it didn't, and this is how things are, and it's okay. Just go be happy, she says. So he goes upstairs, and Celis is waiting, and they don't really have like a romantic exchange or anything. They just leave together.
But here what we've got is that Vinyl Scratch and Applebloom are maybe like friends.
Or implied lesbians, they don't really say. The hide your lesbian shtick kinda undermines everything, but whatever.
Didn't we already have this rant during Long Live the Queen? Yes.
We did, and it's coming up in a lot more media today. We're starting to see just a lot more, I don't know. Look, I don't really care what the orientation of the characters are, just if your story sucks, then it sucks. On television, they sometimes have to hide the sexual orientation of their characters, that's fine. But on the internet, that's not really necessary, and you don't have to do it. Just decide what your character is gonna be, what they're gonna do, and take it seriously, and then don't let it diminish the story.
Maybe he doesn't know what lesbians actually do.
Why? You think that lesbianism is some kind of dark ritual?
I don't know, is it?
Only if you do it correctly. Yes.
What happens if you don't do it correctly?
Then it is boring and pointless, like normal love. Yes. Oh, and then the black hole forms in your living room.
Well, when you're dating a super physicist, you really gotta let her down a lot easier.
I needed space. Apparently she thought that was ironic.
Oh well. Thanks for playing with us, everybody.